Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jim and Frank's Thursday Throwdown.
Jim, welcome to another Thursday Throwdown. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. What do we got for tonight's Throwdown?
Something I think that's would normally be a little out of our wheelhouse.
A little bit.
We're doing Supertramp.
Mhm.
We are doing Crime of the Century up against their mega blockbuster Breakfast in America.
Breakfast in America. That is my introduction to Supertramp.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, 1979. A whole ton of singles off that record. It seems like
Yeah, and they played some stuff that played a few deep tracks on the radio as well.
yeah.
Uh, Child of Vision was one I could remember hearing.
Okay.
Oh, Darling.
I had the LP at one time. I've got the CD, and then I think I've got their greatest hits CD, and that is where I knew some of the other songs from Crime of the Century. But Breakfast in America, that thing was a 20 million seller.
Yeah,
Since
huge.
yeah, um, Roger Hodgson and Rick Davies were the songwriters and principal musicians in Supertramp.
Yeah, a little more proggy than what we normally get into because it's not prog rock. It's more like
No.
prog pop.
Yeah, there you go. The vocals are so pronounced, and there's not, from what we were normally listening to, you're not getting a lot of yelling and screaming. You're getting a lot of thought-provoking tunes, and
Yeah.
I always this probably doesn't make any sense, but I looked at them as kind of like Pink Floyd light, just because
Maybe
they
not quite as trippy or
not the
whatever.
trippy, but the production wise and the the songs themselves, like say Roger Waters tunes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Goodbye Stranger, Breakfast in America itself. These are, of course, their tunes seemed a little more poppy and snappy than anything Pink Floyd did, but
And very smart.
yes,
Lyrically clever.
right. I agree with that. One might say logical.
Yes. I got so sick of the Logical song when it came out.
Yes.
I every time it come on, I just have to change the
Right.
radio because you heard it for the umpteenth millionth
Right.
time. Made me a little crazy.
Another one,
Features the Mattel electronic football game in there.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, and another interesting tidbit. One of the signatures of that song is the saxophone,
Mhm.
which was recorded in the studio bathroom.
And that's something. I think that if I read right, that particular album was recorded in several studios. They were
Probably so.
all over the place. Yeah. I don't know. It worked. Like I say, 20 million strong to
Yeah, I believe the album went to number one. Yeah, it went to number one on the Billboard Top 200.
Yep.
Won a Grammy
Right.
in 1980 for Album of the Year.
Very good. 46 minutes long. Not too bad.
Longish.
Yeah. Where the pop music and rock music was 30, 35 minutes, and these guys went a little longer.
10 songs.
Yeah.
You're getting into 4 or 5, 6
Right.
minutes.
Now, what about Crime of the Century? I will say this. I didn't think I knew this album at all, but
This album was actually my introduction to Supertramp.
okay. Then this is way back 1974. And
Yeah.
I think this was their third record, and it was one of those do or die records at this point.
I probably heard it in like 76.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy's older brother, who lived down the street,
Right.
had it and introduced me to Supertramp. I thought they were great. I thought,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, when I heard the singles, then I realized, oh, I know this record fairly well because they got a lot of airplay as well.
I thought Bloody Well Right was a
Love
great
that.
tune.
Yep. Dreamer.
Dreamer,
Used to tell my
School.
kids that all the time. If they ask for something, I say, "Dreamer, you're nothing but a dreamer."
Yeah. How's it feel to want?
Yep. School, that harmonica. Who starts an album with a harmonica in the distance? And
Yeah.
and again, this gets back to my Pink Floyd-ish style because you have almost a pained vocal starting off, and just fantastic song.
Um, that whole album, actually, I would say both albums, but beautiful arrangements,
Yes.
layered vocals, layered instruments. It's just extremely well done. And I think that's part of the genius of their songwriting is
Right.
just the way they arrange their parts. Just fantastic stuff.
Now, everything after Crime of the Century and then skipping Breakfast in America, were there any albums that were significant? Because I don't know of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was a sort of a loose Supertramp fan based
Mhm.
on uh Crime of the Century.
Who did they
Let's
tour with
see.
when they toured? Do you have
Oh,
any idea?
stamped. Uh, no,
I, I can't
no,
see
no
them
idea.
being pitted with anybody, really. I'd love to if our listeners know if they got to see them live, what kind of a show that was. I can imagine it was good, but who would play with them?
No idea. So let's see. Um, yeah, who do you pair up?
Yeah, I
I
don't.
mean, honestly, Pink Floyd.
Yeah, nah, see that's a band that doesn't usually probably have an opening act. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just going through. So since Crime of the Century, Crisis, Wet Crisis, even in the quietest moments, give a little bit,
There you go. There's a song that
right?
made the charts. Okay.
That was 77. That was right before Breakfast in America, right?
Okay.
And there was just the one album in between. So,
And you said there was a live album in there as well afterwards, after Breakfast in America.
right. So right after Breakfast in America, they came out with Paris,
Right.
which was the live album. Let's see if they released any.
And I think I remember hearing some of those older singles
Yeah,
off that
so
album.
so the singles from that were Dreamer, Take the Long
Mhm.
Way Home, Breakfast in America.
Right.
So they were basically just releasing
Rehashing.
live versions of songs they had already just
Right.
right. And then
Now
their
Hodgson,
follow-up, Famous Last Words.
Roger Hodgson had
Uh
left at one point. So
oh,
um either that last album or right before that, there was not the full band. And then they were done by what, 85 or so.
was it that late? Did they
You know,
carry on that long?
maybe it's I could be wrong, but it seems like they were possibly doing some live shows or something. But
Yeah, they were already getting into greatest hits after
yeah,
85.
okay. So that's when they're done. Crime of the Century was 44 minutes long, good tunes, but for me, because it was my introduction, I think Breakfast in America is a little bit stronger. What about you?
Well, Crime of the Century, I think, is sort of the nostalgic fave because that was my introduction.
Uh-huh.
I would probably still go with that.
Okay.
Um, kind of hard to argue with Breakfast in America, though.
Right.
It's so good. You know what? I'm gonna swap it up. I'm going Breakfast in America.
Okay. There it is. No wrong answers, like we always say.
No wrong answers, but those four singles are all just tight, great. Especially like Breakfast in America. I think it's a fantastic song.
I agree. Well, all right. Well, let's just call it a knockout for Supertramp's Breakfast in America.
Breakfast in America. There it
Curious
is.
to see what the viewers and listeners have to say because I think everybody knows at least one Supertramp song,
Oh yeah,
if not more.
absolutely,
So, what are your
absolutely.
thoughts?
A lot of people buy Breakfast in America, so
Yep.
there it is.
There you go.
All right.
Okay. Till next time.
All right. See you next week.